Hello everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to go through everything I read in April. I'm going to start from the book that I enjoyed the least to the book that I enjoyed the most. So, this month had a real disappointment. Big disappointment, might be the biggest disappointment. How many times can I say the word disappointment? And it was The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. I wanted to like this book. I thought I was gonna like this book. I've already read and enjoyed Poston. But this didn't work. Now I'm gonna go into a rant. I guess the first issue, it has a time travel element. And I can't go into it to spoil it, but it didn't work. I didn't like, I want to talk about it. Okay, you know what? If you want to read the book, skip ahead. So, they had, in the apartment, which is referenced in the title of The 7-Year Slip, there's a man who is, from 7 years in the past. But when you leave that apartment, that man is also existing in present time. So it's like there's two men. So she's kind of like in a love triangle with two of the same man. That didn't work for me. You know what? That's neither here nor there. The rating was fine, but it was the female lead and the male lead just had careers that I am not interested in. I do not enjoy reading about. I do not want to read about. First off, I think she was a writer, like a publisher's publicist. That is very boring to me. And the book industry is so oversaturated with books about the book industry. And I'm just like, another one? And I guess I should say, this really reminded me of Book Lovers. So if you like Emily Henry, you'll probably like this book, 7-Year Slip, or maybe you'll like Ashley Poston, as a whole. But I didn't like Book Lovers, so that makes sense that I didn't like 7-Year Slip, because they're very similar, so at least that made sense. Now the male lead, the second main character. He is a chef, and it's like, oh, cool, But he's a Michelin star chef, and I will never eat in a Michelin star restaurant. Like, he's making food that I cannot get access to. Like, he's making food that I will never get to eat. And it's so elitist, and I just hate how the culinary industry is male dominated. And then these men set up restaurants that, like, ordinary people can't go to. And I just hate it. Like, women are, like, really pressured to stay at home and cook. But the only people who are rich and famous from cooking is men. And it's just, I hate that. I hate that industry. I'll never eat Michelin star. I'm not interested in Michelin star. I don't want to hear about Michelin star. I don't care. I don't want to read about that. It's just so elitist. It's so, exclusionary, and I just don't like it. So anyway, they just really, like, struck out for me, the two main characters. But I guess he was attractive, though, so, he had that going. But yeah, I had to give this 2.5 stars because I couldn't get through it. Like, I was skimming it. But yeah, it's not a terrible book, but I'm, like, really surprised I had to give it 2.5 stars. But yeah, it's under a 3-star because of the issue with the time travel. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, this book isn't that badly written, but it just did not work for me. Okay, the next book is Do Your Worst by Rosie Dunnan. This book, like, it's the worst disappointment at all when you start loving a book and then it takes a dive down. So my reading experience this month was, like, I don't know what book to read first, 7-Year Slip or Do Your Worst. So I read 7-Year Slip. I didn't like it. I didn't like 7-Year Slip at any point of reading it. And it just didn't speak to, my culture, my ethnicity is just like very removed from like me as a Black woman. And so, and then they didn't draw me in. You know, I can read about different cultures, but that just didn't speak to me at all. And then I read Do Your Worst, and I was loving it. I'm like, let me just read Do Your Worst, put 7 Year Slip down. And it was amazing. It takes place at this haunted mansion in Scotland, and the two main characters have this sexual tension, and they have to solve the curse, and they have to figure out the mystery of the curse. The male lead is an archaeologist, and the female lead is a curse breaker, and it was amazing. But then spice took over. The spice was the plot, and like, it's kind of hard to explain. There's like books with plot, there's books without plot and all spice, and this was a book with a spice-centered plot. And like at first it was great, but then it was too forced. Like, kind of want them to come together more organically. It's like, oh, you know, as they're solving the mystery of the curse, they get closer. Like, that's what I would have liked, but it was too much spice, which is crazy. So, but anyway, she's an amazing writer, so it's still a 3. I love the beginning. I learned a lot. The characters are, you know, they're lovable, they're interesting, they're funny, they're smart, they're attractive, they're just amazing. The writing is amazing, but yeah, this was more of a plot issue and too much spice. So, but I don't know, I recommend the book, but it might be frustrating for you as well. The next book I'll talk about is Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. And this book, it is a prequel. Like, you can tell it's the first book of a prequel series. So all it does is set you up for the rest of the series and the series to follow. So it is very, you know, it just gives you background. It just gives you characterization. That's kind of all it gives you. Just everything you need to know for the rest of the series. So I couldn't give it a 5-star, but it's 4-star. I really loved Jem. I don't like Will yet, so we'll see. We will see if I like Will. He's just, you know, too cocky at this point. But I've never read Cassandra Clare before, so I'm glad I started out with a really good one. Like I said, this was just characterization, and in this book, Tessa just gets to know the Shadowhunters, and that's pretty much all that happens. So yeah, it's just a setup, background, characterization, but I really enjoyed it. The writing is incredible, so I hope I can read, you know, other books of hers that have the same like high level of writing. So I plan to continue the Clockwork series. Next, okay, my top 2 books left. So every month I always read 5 books. I don't plan it, but that's always what happens. So, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Like, I think, well, this was, as a whole, there's a lot of pretty hyped up books, but this might have been the most hyped up. The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So yeah, this is my first time, no. Other than Do Your Worst, this is my first time reading all these authors. So I've never, that's not even true. Okay, this is my first time reading Jennifer Lynn Barnes, Cassandra Clare, and the author of my 5 stars. I'm reading it too. So I was like, you know, everyone loves from Jennifer Lynn Barnes The Naturals. A lot of people say The Naturals is better than Inheritance Games. I don't know, The Naturals is not really my cup of tea, but I was like, you know, should I even read this? People don't like it as much as The Naturals. So I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's maybe it's popular for a reason. I never think that. Like, usually popular books don't work for me. This worked for me. Like, if I were to guess my rating, it would be low. But after reading it, I really, really enjoyed it. Like, the writing was really good. I listened to this on audiobook, so I think that really helped my experience. I would give this book 4 stars. So what I didn't like was it's YA, so they use way too many euphemisms for curse words, and yeah, it was too much. And then in this book, Avery gets to know the grandsons of a man who has mysteriously left her a fortune. And that's pretty much the whole book, her uncovering why she was given this fortune. But for me, like, they tried to keep the boys mysterious, but they were so mysterious that they were kind of like underdeveloped. So I don't have a strong grasp on the grandson's character. So I get why there's like, she made this series in like two spin-off series. Correct me if I'm wrong, because there's a lot of characterization that needs to be done for the grandsons. I'm like, I can't tell them from barely each other or from like a pile of wood. Like, she tried to make them so mysterious that I don't even know who they are. And I know that's the whole point. You can't tell who they are, what their intentions are. But I guess I gotta keep reading. But I don't know if I'll keep reading. But I might just leave it on a high note and be like, I really liked this book. But yeah, it's so amazing that I read a popular book and like it, especially a YA book. But yeah, the mystery was, not predictable. It was doing what it had to do. She did what she had to do to keep me listening. I can't even get into it without spoiling it. But yeah, my jaw dropped. But yeah, it's YA, but it's not too like silly, and they didn't try to make it not mature because it's YA. Obviously nothing crazy happens in it, but it's like, wow, this is, kind of a lot for a like really young kid to read about. But yeah, it's a mystery, so I can't really talk about it, but I really liked it. As long as a mystery can like have you shocked and have your jaw drop multiple times and like have me, still interested to the end, that's the important thing. That's the sign of a great book. Speaking of a great book, I gave 5 stars to Big Swiss. So I'm realizing, like, comparing Big Swiss to 7 Year Slip, I just like dark humor. So Big Swiss is very dark. The trigger warnings are suicide. It's a major theme in the book. It is about a therapy session transcriber and how she kind of gets obsessed with the lives that she is listening to. She's listening to their therapy sessions and she's getting obsessed, and she's learning, and she's, growing like parasocial attachments to these people. And the humor is just, it's dark, but it's amazing. The romance is unconventional, but I don't know, you kind of just love it or you don't. Like, you grow to love the main character and then you're kind of along for the ride for her strange romance, or you're just like, no. But I really enjoyed it. This is like, I think my second 5-star of the year after her House of Earth and Blood. So yeah, this is very high on the list. But yeah, like, humor is the #1 thing. But yeah, it was just excellent writing, so descriptive, such an interesting plot, interesting characters, giving me all the details that I needed to visualize the story. And just like when I'm like highlighting, laughing, and like telling my friends about the book, it's really good. But yeah, I wish I could go on and on. I might go more into depth in a 5-star reads video, but I have to eat breakfast and go to work. So anyway, I just really enjoy it, but I can only recommend Big Swiss to people who like dark comedy. So I didn't realize how much I really liked dark comedy. So maybe 7 Year Slip was too, you know, cutesy for me. I don't know. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I have a lot of cool videos coming out, and so I'll see you in the next one. And in the meantime, please watch my Carmel weekend vlog, my spring break vlog, and all my other vlogs. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.